Hello, welcome friends to special webinar of Elets Technomedia. As you know, that Elets Technomedia, India's premier media and technology research organization and perhaps India's leading B2B media platform, has been conducting series of webinars during the lockdown to connect communities, to connect people, to discuss on various aspects of how to address the challenges posed by corona and the lockdown, and how governance ecosystem, all the thought leaders are responding to it. And we have series of webinars lined up for next 1 month, and also we have done more than 50 plus webinars in last 1 month, connecting people, communities, bureaucrats, policymakers, thought leaders, edu leaders, health tech leaders, industry leaders, experts, to come and discuss, to find, to move forward with right direction. As you know, Elets Technomedia is a 17-year-old company which publishes 4 magazines: eGov, which is India's first magazine on governance; eHealth, which is India's first magazine, a leading magazine on technology innovation for healthcare; digital learning, the magazine which talks about innovation in education sector; and the Banking and Finance Post, India's leading magazine on the importance of technology in the BFSI sector. And also, Elets Technomedia has been conducting and organizing conferences, knowledge conferences in various parts of India and abroad to make a knowledge society in 30 plus sectors, be it governance, education, health, BFSI, urban, smart cities. And today we have a special topic with a special guest for this webinar. The topic of this webinar is governance during crisis. Yes, you heard it right. And to discuss about this, we have a special guest with us from the state of Madhya Pradesh, Dr. Tejaswi Naik, IS officer of 2009 batch. He is posted in the Urban Directorate of Government of Madhya Pradesh. Welcome, Dr. Tejaswi Naik, for special webinar of Elets Technomedia.
Thank you, Souvik. Nice to be here.
Yeah. So my first question will be, how has the governance ecosystem has responded to the corona outbreak, if I say so, and how, and vis-a-vis lockdown? As a policymaker with vast experience, you have served in various capacity as Commissioner of Bhopal Municipal Corporation earlier, then you have been DM of various districts, now you are back to the Urban Directorate in Government of Madhya Pradesh. As a policymaker, what is your opinion, or how do you see that how the governance ecosystem has responded to the corona outbreak in terms of Indian scenario?
Yeah, thank you, Souvik. I think these are challenging times for everybody, not only the government, but the whole ecosystem itself. And likewise, the government also has had its challenges, and we are standing up to it. Uh, there have been different kind of challenges, call it as human resource, or call it as technological challenges, call it as administrative challenges, financial challenges, which I think later on we'll be discussing in detail. But the one thing that comes to my mind is I was there in Missouri in the Labasna IS Academy taking a class in the first week of March on food security. So we were having a very open discussion then. And you have to see the first week of March was just 10 days before the overall lockdown that happened. We were having a discussion as to why food security should be there, and what is the importance of public distribution system. Uh, in India, it has been a relic of the famines we have had, and we all know how famines happen. And in today's globalized world, is the targeted PDS system required? Or can we just go on to the open market? This was the question. There was a question also on this. Why do we even require a public distribution system? And now, just 10 or 15 days later, when the lockdown came in, and now 1 month into the lockdown, you see how important the public distribution system is. So this goes to show how important our institutions are, how important certain of our establishments are. Though we may not know the importance in the routine life, they are of great importance for us. And likewise, the government has had chance to relook and re-strategize about the way it goes about. So urban department, especially here in MP, we have been given responsibility of handling a call center for non-medical issues. We have two call centers. One is for the medical issues, whoever has any corona related info or anything like that. And the other one is regarding lockdown. Anybody having food issues or travel issues or medicine issues and these kind of things. We in MP, we are handling 10,000 calls per day, and we are handling people within MP also, and our people outside MP also. Here we have had a lot of experiences. We have had to coordinate with all the states. The states also are coordinating with each other. The essence of civil service comes in there, where we know people and we have worked together, and many a times our personal input also helps a lot. So all of the people are encouraging each other and working together. The best work at all is being put up by our foot soldiers, the people on the field, be it our ANMs and the nurses who go door to door for the sample check, or our policemen who are there outside in the sun when most of us are locked down inside our homes, or even our call center employees who brave the fear of this whole epidemic and pandemic, and they are coming, reaching their places in the call center job and handling crisis situations. Till now, we have handled around 3 lakh people through the calls, and we have benefited them. So I think we have also evolved, and in the coming days, I see a lot of evolution happening.
Right, sir. Right. And as we've been saying that the government ecosystem responded well to that, we have to all rethink and relook at strategies. I know you yourself is a tech enthusiast. You always advocate for the importance of technology for good governance. What is your opinion that how technology or innovation has been leveraged by the governance ecosystem when it comes to delivering citizen services, especially during the lockdown?
Yeah, as I said, the lockdown and the whole corona pandemic situation has been a game changer and an eye opener for most of us. As they say, necessity is the mother of invention. So it is a evergreen truth. So whenever technological revolutions have happened, it is mainly because there has been a need, there has been a necessity. We see this all along the history. They say the Great Plague also. It somehow led to the Renaissance and the industrial revolution. Sorry, and most of the inventions that we see today, be it the computers or the ballpoint pen, also, it is the invention that happened during the World Wars One and Two. So
Right.
I think Corona is also one such situation where we are going for large scale change. And in governance wise, we are already seeing that. And I think in socially also, and as a civilization, we'll be seeing more of it. I can say by the limited experience I have of handling this call center during this time, because I am not in the field. If I was in the field as a collector, I would have had different dynamics working out there in the field and handling my team. So now being here in the urban administration, we have been formulating protocols regarding our buildings, formulating protocols for our cities and towns, formulating protocol as to how to handle the public spaces. So for the call center, as I have mentioned, we have been receiving around 10,000 calls per day. So when the lockdown happened, we had the challenge of establishing a call center overnight. So see, you don't get technologies right away. Though we have a lot of open source techs available, to handle a call center with around 200 people handling at least 10,000 calls per day, it's not that easy. So we started manually. We started with the landline phone numbers and the registers and the likes. Slowly we upgraded to Excel sheets. We slowly then moved on to the Google Sheets, and then now we have a portal. But the portal took quite a time coming in because development time also is required. So what I'm trying to share here is we have a lot of open source techs available, which we can use, and we have also learned using them, how it can be put to good use, and what is the limitation that they have. So similarly, after portal, we have also realized how WhatsApp can be leveraged for getting the best of the data. It was very surprising that most of our people who are outside MP, the mostly people have gone in search of labor, they prefer WhatsApp over a landline phone. Reasons could be many. One, definitely the penetration of WhatsApp, also the free WhatsApp calling, which doesn't charge you, and also the availability of a video call. Many of them were calling us on or through a video call. So it was a sense of security also that somebody is going to receive. It's a different fact that we had a very hard time gathering all this data and putting it to use. But as you can see, we have also evolved, and thanks to many of the open source that is available, we have been able to at least create a platform. Right now, after the portal and after this experience of training our people also, which itself is a different ball game. Management of HR, it's a different ball game altogether. So we are right now quite solid and well established, and we have figures to show that we have benefited most of the people that who have reached us. The expectations are like the top expectation is we have to get back to people within 4 hours of them contacting us. So these are the high expectations we are living with, and also it's a very well required expectation also, because the people there are in dire straits, so they require the help of the government. So we have been able to help them, and that's a happy thing for us.
Right, sir. So one more thing that, as you're talking about technology, you're talking about WhatsApp video calls. How do you think that the newest technologies like AI, IoT, big data, we're talking about data and data analytics. Do you think that that is also playing a major role in terms of governance workforce when they're working for the lockdown? Especially, we are seeing drone mapping and everything. What's your take on that?
Definitely, we are already using that. I didn't mention about the IVRS and the chatbot for our landline systems. We have had IVRS, though it took a bit of time to customize it and employ it. And the chatbot also took a bit of time, but we have it in place. So these have actually, reduced a lot of our efforts when it comes to the interface. And at least we were not able to take all the calls. Slowly we have been able to address all of them. At least we have been able to get back to the people. So that ways technology has helped. But yeah, certain technologies come at a cost and come at a time cost also. There is a time involved. So when actually you are facing with a crisis situation, you have to make best of the resources you have.
Right, right. As we are discussing the governance challenges and how technology has been able, what about the urban scenario? Like you have served in Bhopal Municipal Corporation as the commissioner and plays an important role for bringing Bhopal to the first 20 list of smart cities 4 5 years back with your relentless efforts with your team. We are privy to that. Uh, what do you think that we're talking about 100 smart cities and urban transformation for through various government of India and state government schemes? Do you think that this kind of unprecedented situation has actually also showing us that it was necessary to come up with a mission like smart cities, and we are seeing the good things of smart cities are being implemented to tackle this unprecedented problem, the crisis.
Definitely, the experience that we have had in managing different schemes, starting from GNNRM to smart cities to Swachh Bharat, all these have had a effect of value addition to all the urban local bodies, and especially with the smart cities, most of the cities in India, not only MP, most of the cities in India have got an asset called as the control room, command and control room. So when we were required to set up a call center, it was but obvious that we had to use the same facility. I have seen other news also where other cities have also gone for the same asset. So the investment in smart cities has, right now it is giving dividends, and we have a lot of ready inputs now. You can compare this to around 20, 30 years back when there was no mobile revolution and there was no information revolution yet. How difficult it could have been, we can only imagine. Right now, we are quite adapted to so many things which are easily available to us. So, smart cities definitely has been a very timely intervention. Apart from this, I think the Corona challenge is going to bring a second level of technological interventions. Right now, whatever smart city discussions we have had or the implementations that we have done, it is at the city level. Due to Corona, we will have to start thinking at the grassroots level, at the final person, our Safai Karmi who goes to each and every locations in the city and handles the things right on. Until and unless we strengthen him or her, and we give him the gadgets and we give him the benefits of this technology, it will be half implemented. And right now we have a very good situation to do that, and we're in the same direction. Apart from this, apart from the smart cities, other benefits that we have had is due to different schemes that have been going on. We have had a good HR in the form of consultants. So many of the urban local bodies can make use of these consultants, and they have added to the value, that I have to say. And we have different good ideas coming in, different good best practices coming in, and they learn from the experience of the our government servants, and the government servants learn from the new things that they get it. So it has been a benefit also. But the coming challenge would be for the urban sector in India or globally also. I keenly watch the news of European cities and American cities. The finances will be the major question. With the economy going into a different shape altogether, and we'll be having a double jeopardy. One is definitely our own revenue sources that will be going down, a lot of taxes that has to come. We may not realize that amount of taxes, and the extra expenditure that will be incurring. Over the last 1 month, we have been seeing our urban local bodies are at the forefront. They are the ones who are fighting the battle. They are the ones who are ensuring the hygiene. They are the ones who are ensuring proper, safe environment. So that extra cost, how it will be borne? In India, we have a system of most of our urban local bodies. They are dependent on the devolutions that come from government of India and government of the state government. So we have capped income coming in. Elsewhere, I don't know how the system is. Definitely in US, there is the federal funding that comes through. But how much of that is actually useful, or how much of that is actually fulfills your need, is a different question. But here, definitely, we'll have to start looking at different sources of revenue. Start looking at unorthodox sources of revenue. Till now, we have been mainly dependent on taxes that are levied on, say, the advertisement and the like for the urban local body, especially after the coming of GST. We'll have to start looking at different kind of taxes or different kind of revenue realization or different kind of revenue generation. So that will be a challenge in the coming years, and maybe a new way of thinking of, say, cutting our costs also. One of the major costs for any urban local body is electricity and energy, say the street light lighting or the lighting of the city, or the diesel and petrol that is used for our vehicles, be it for solid waste management or our vehicles that move. How do you reduce that burden? And also the HR burden. If you can, cut down to proper size and make it more active. So these will be the major challenges which we'll have to look forward in the coming days. And I hope some good practices will come in.
Taking cue from what you have said regarding especially the financing part, so what according to you can be the solutions when it comes to the managing finances and getting revenue for this urban local bodies? What can be the way out? Because as you rightly said that during this crisis, and also once the crisis is over, there will be a huge void, there will be a huge gap for revenue and everything. So what do you think that what can be done to address these challenges?
Uh, lot of urban planning issues are also involved, as well as the citizen centric issues are there. When I was Bhopal Municipal Commissioner, then also I used to stress that not all pay their taxes. See, the city is just like your home. you have to behave as a very responsible citizen or a family member. So just like you don't litter around in your home so that anybody comes and picks it, the same you do to the city. You don't litter around. You behave responsibly. You look for the dustbin and you throw it there itself. Similarly, you pay your taxes also, because unless you pay your taxes, the city is not going to run. It is called as a corporation because it runs like a corporation. You have to be responsible for the expenditure as well as the income that you get. So, city-wise, yes, revenue realization always has been a challenge, and people will have to get more responsible, because when you can pay $800 or $1,000 for your internet or Tata dish or whatever that comes in direct to home transmission for your TV, why cannot you pay 500 rupees for your water, or which is already subsidized? And why cannot you pay your property tax once in a year, which comes to say 100 or 200 rupees per month? So these are the things one will have to think and start taking seriously. Apart from this, the urban planning wise also, I see a lot of change happening. One of the research coming out from Italy, it suggested that most of the cities in dire states were the cities where air pollution was high, and this air pollution has been mainly due to the vehicular traffic. In among the cities, there has been a movement going on to make city center free of vehicles for a long time now. Netherlands is a front runner in that. They have a very cycle based city, beautiful cycle based cities there. Here we'll have to start thinking. We have already seen effects like heat island effect, which happens mainly because all of us, we have AC in our home, and we push the heat that comes out the outside into the public space, which is already hot because a lot of concrete has been used within the city, because we are not paid much attention while building our city. It's hot every around. So this heat island effect has caused the animals to go down. Even human beings are affected. Similarly, certain planning changes will have to be brought in. One major planning change would be, say, if air pollution is actually aiding corona, then it makes sense for us to make our cities more, air quality friendly. Just like London came up with their air quality acts in 1956. This was after the great smog of London in 1952. This was to create London, the future London, free of smog and free of air pollution. Similarly, we'll have to start thinking on these lines. We'll have to start thinking about this vehicular traffic and the vehicular pollution that comes in. Already, the cities are bleeding because of this heavy traffic, because we have to make multi-level parkings, we have to create roads, we have to create flyovers, just because many of the cars are being added every year. Why don't we move on to public transport mostly and use more of walking, and also limit our commute? Corona has also helped us in reinventing ourselves in terms of working from home. So we hear all the time about the trouble the people face in Bangalore or Pune, where they have to spend 2 to 3 hours just commuting to their workplace. Recently, I think Google came up with a solution also for their workers, wherein they accommodated people near their setup, near their industry, so that they don't spend too much time there. And also the quality of life. We in the present modern world, we hardly get out, and the cities are hardly physical exercise friendly. The kids today play less than what the kids earlier used to play. So how do we explain the lung capacity that will come in the coming days? The lung capacity is only going to reduce if we don't have physical activity. It is directly linked with your physical activity. Similarly, most of our cities, they have been aiding obesity. So obesity comes with other diseases also, the link disease, which are exactly the comorbidity issues in corona. So these act as a base for corona to act on. So our cities will have to inculcate all these planning aspects for the coming years, and ensure that our citizens are healthy, and make them walk more, so that they use less of vehicle, and so less of pollution is created, and we have less of respiratory issues. So these kind of planning is required, and we'll have to work it out. Public space planning definitely will going to be important in the coming days. And I also see the flats also, the concept of flats will have to change a bit, because if more work from home concept comes in, as it's happening right now, your flat orientation will also have to change. Your flat planning also will have to change. So for a healthy living, this planning aspects are very much important.
Quite an insightful take on the city structure, urban, local body structure, the financing, and also you have integrated so many points here. You're right that this corona outbreaks and lockdown has shown us that a lot of things which we never imagined actually can be possible. That cities without cars, we're all working from home, and there's so many things we are seeing that that can be done. I think that the biggest learning of this outbreak and the lockdown is that, as you have rightly said, that we should rethink, introspect, and give it a rethink while doing urban planning. And that day we are having a webinar on urban spectrum. There also the experts told that we have to take citizen into consideration while making the planning, uh, urban planning for city and everything. You also support that kind of view that we should engage citizens more and more for urban planning, when so that in near future, if something like this comes up, we are all ready and cities are planned in that way to handle that kind of pressure.
Yeah, definitely. See, all these things that are happening is for the citizen, and how we get the views from them and how we inculcate them is the challenge. One concept was the participative budgeting, which in 2015 we did use for Bhopal municipal's budget making process. We try to reach out to people through different means, and similarly, there are certain inputs we you get quite in routine also. One of the interventions of Bhopal Municipal, which was recognized by Elets also, was She Launch. She Launch mainly came in because the present public toilets were not helpful for the females in the urban setup. So we felt the need that we require a separate set of public toilets, which are mainly and solely for the ladies. And we also try to make it more friendly, user friendly. Say it was not branded as a toilet, because the picture of a toilet itself created a lot of negative impressions. It was branded as a launch. So input from people is what drives the governance, and because governance, if it has to be successful, it has to take inputs from the people. Otherwise, there will be a huge gap. Uh, Budget wise also, or the city planning wise also, the inputs from the people, be it the best of the town planners or be it the average citizen who has his view, has to be taken into account.
As rightly pointed out by you, and as you have said that necessity is the mother of all invention, we can go back to that story of 1600 when Sir Isaac Newton have come up with invention when he was locked down. For 2 years, this entire country was under lockdown, and it is said that during later on when the research paper came out that most of his inventions were done during that lockdown. The papers have proved it. Even we can see the example of Dutch cities. The cycling is a norm. They have faced huge devastation some 50, 100 years back, and now they have become a completely cycling nation. So I think India can also move in that direction. Now I'll come to a very important part. We know in the smart city guideline there is a portion of telemedicine. One of the main conditions of making a city smarter is the telemedicine aspect is there in terms of health. Do you think that now, even more because of this corona outbreak and the lockdown and the subsequent results, do you think that health aspect will be of more importance, be it for urban transformation, be it rural transformation, that health will now take over many more aspects compared to other aspects when it comes to planning and integrating that healthcare model with sustainable, resilient cities of future?
This is for the first time, I guess, at least since I've joined service, that I'm seeing people from all walks of life, all disciplines, all age groups. They are talking about health for the first time. It's say some auto company MD is also speaking about health. Nuclear scientist is also speaking about health, and administrators definitely are speaking about health. What is the need is to have a basic background about health, because public health, just like overall the concept of medicine, it requires a certain rigor. So what we have to be careful is, while speaking about health, we shouldn't be pushing false data or fake data without realizing, which may happen in present day social media, revolution and our connectivity. So till now, I suppose health has been seen as a department or a concept. Right now, it has become a realization wherein health has to be included in every aspect of our life, every aspect of our governance. So, this whole pandemic issue has made so many people think about every aspect of how they work to how they live. So some basics are required. Till now, definitely that kind of attention has not been paid, which may have been required. Being from the medical background, I can watch for that, because certain basics are to be ingrained in our governance. That I think Corona will definitely bring in, and that awareness will be brought in. And as I've spoken before, in our urban planning aspect also, if you have to prevent certain diseases, if you have to prevent certain disorders, say obesity or even dengue, which is mostly of the urban making because of our new water system, water supply systems, and the sewage and the related issues, and our air coolers. Of course, dengue doesn't, come in sewage. It requires clear water. But somewhere this piped water system and the air cooler concept and the air conditioner, these have all created an ecosystem for dengue. So we have had to face that challenge also. So in the coming days, I think the urban sector is going to face very peculiar health related challenges, which will have to be geared up. And one benefit definitely would be telemedicine, and creating that basic level of understanding, better than you going to Google and Googling something. It is better you reach out to telemedicine. Definitely, it is not a replacement for a physician to come and check you firsthand, but it is definitely somewhere in between, and it is somewhere helpful in the present scenario where you cannot reach the people, so that they don't do the wrongs. During situations such as this, it is more important is not to do the wrongs, not to go wrong, rather than doing the right thing. So that thing apart, as I've said, the in the coming days, the challenges will be peculiar in the urban setup when it comes to health, and we'll have to gear up our health response, our public health response within the cities. Also, we'll have to have a relook. In the rural setup, it has become quite robust, and it has come up well through our network of Anganwadis and ANMs and Ashas. In the urban setup, where we think we have access to many of the greater hospitals and very good health setup, the prevention aspect is where we require more attention. This is somewhere lacking. That this I have noticed in the dengue aspect also, because once an epidemic like dengue comes in, we are really hard pressed, and the resultant news that is also produced, which is not verified, that only aids to the fear psychosis. So in epidemics and in pandemics, more than the actual effect, it is the fear psychosis which is more dangerous, I would say. So controlling the narrative is also important.
And do you think that, as you have said, that preemptive measures have to be taken, also that with health it comes wellness, and also wellness it comes cleanliness. Do you think that cleanliness of cities, cleanliness of urban space, cleanliness of rural space will also gain more importance? We have Swachh Bharat mission, and we have seen tremendous results, positive results which has yielded. But do you think that health, wellness, cleanliness, mental health, all this thing will come up in a new avatar post corona and lockdown scenario?
Swachh Bharat has to be a way of life, and it has become in most of the areas. And as a natural progression, Swachh Bharat has now moved on to the water aspect, wherein we are looking for clean water management and the dry water, gray water management also. The next logical step would be the air. So the cities will have to start thinking about the air quality very soon. We have already seen the experiences in the past 2 3 years, and most of the media coverage has been regarding this. So for that, you will have to make certain drastic measures. One definitely is this concept which is called as ethical shopping or ethical eating, which talks about going for the resources which are nearer to you rather than which has been flown to you from the other part of the world or other part of the nation. Go for resources which are more nearer to you, which will definitely aid in reducing the pollution. And also that we have talked about cycling friendly cities and walk friendly cities, and planning wise getting most of the things near by to you, no commuting to work or lesser commuting to work. All these concepts have to be considered. Similarly, concepts like urban farming will have to be encouraged. They have been novel concept till now, but I think post Corona there'll be a very important concept wherein the city can plan for the resources just by looking around its periphery. So apart from this, yes, health-wise, this has to be planned, and for a citizen to be healthy, the cleanliness aspect, be it the solid waste management or the liquid waste management or the air quality indices, all of them, plus the mental well-being, which is aided by proper exercise and physical exercise that is available. This comes into picture, and for a nation, there is nothing like a citizen who is productive with all these things which are in place, because the nation somewhere it invests in each of us so that we contribute to the GDP. So anybody, any of us, any even a single person getting affected means our nation's GDP is getting affected. So that larger holistic view has to be taken, and spending on health is definitely positive indication, just like it is in education. We have to start looking at that.
True, true. We'll come to on the last leg of this webinar. My last question to you will be, what are the major learnings or outcome you may see post-COVID era? And then we'll move to some Q&A because some questions have already arrived for you. We'll move to that part. But my last question to you will be, according to policymaker, what is the biggest learning or outcomes for all of us as a society, as human race, post-COVID?
Uh, there have been different learnings globally as well as nationally as well as personally also. At the level of societies also there are learnings. The people are this is the first time that we have seen the train stop or the flight stop in our lifetime. So definitely it is opening up a lot of thinking. Uh, when it comes to governance, I see a major push towards digitization, which is already happening, but this will be a spurt with, as you have spoken, AI and related technologies, and more onus on the concept of working from home wherever possible. You don't require all the people coming to the same setup and doing it. I was speaking to a friend who's in private sector. They also say that though the IT sector was talking about working from home, they were never serious till now. Now they have to if they have to survive. So that definitely is a game changer. Uh, the whole setup of our public space and social interaction is going to change. Uh, one major challenge, I was reading an article on how colleges will survive if the students will come back to the colleges, or they will prefer web classes. So that will have to be thought again. And through the call center experience, what we have seen, at least at our department level, we have been able to come up with a very good database of our laborers who are outside MP. Now, see, these are the people who have been mostly out of the net of social benefits that the government gives. Because in a village, if say there are 250 families, the benefit goes to those families. And now with the DBT, direct benefit transfer, it's much easier to push those benefits. But what happens is people who migrate, usually they migrate for 6 months also, and they migrate for years together also. Some of them, they do miss out on these benefits. So when you don't get them in the net, they are losing out on benefits. Say it can be the food security aspect, it can be the social security of pension aspect, it can be the scholarships, it can be even the midday meal, it can be the host of services that they might have got other if they had stayed in their village. So we now have a database which should aid such DBT for our people who go outside the state, and which should be helpful in the coming days, because it is only an extension of the ongoing DBT mode that we have started very successfully. And governments will also be able to create better schemes and newer schemes for these people who usually have been out of the net. So I see that as a very major challenge, because in India we have a very big migrant population. We have already seen that. We as governance, as government people, have to ensure that all of these people get the benefits that they deserve or the benefits that they qualify for. So Corona's one of the positive aspects, or if I can take it out as a positive, is that we have been able to tap these people, which otherwise would have taken years. So in the coming days, that is one positive for me, and I'm really happy about that. Uh, some of the observations are like, I think the film industry is going to change. They will have to change, and just the way the governance is changing, where we have to use video call, just like the webinar that's going on right now, to the work from home concept or the e-office, which is going to get us forward. Different industries will change. Our public transport is also going to change. The concept of buildings, wherein centralized AZ was being chosen over our existing setup, that is going to change. Because if you see the coverage of corona, it is mostly these colder countries who have a centralized heating or cooling system, wherein the buildings are closed from everywhere. I think that is one of the reason why the infection has been contained, and there has been a better hit rate on the people. That is my opinion. That's what my observation is. So these countries are facing more of the infection load. Similarly, our AC offices and our AC vehicles, we'll have to rethink after proper results come in, after proper research, and we'll have to be ready for newer kind of health challenges as we urbanize more. By 2030, I think will be more than 50% of us in the cities. So we'll have to start gearing up ourselves for those challenges. This has been a wake-up call, I would say, or the major challenge that we have faced. In the coming days, we'll have to be geared up, because as we globalize more, we'll have to be more ready for those challenges.
So, as we are saying that we all should be ready for the new world order post-COVID, and be it governance, be it any other sphere of life or society, we have to be ready for that new way of life, new world order. And I think world has already changed. And thanks, Dr. Naik, for sharing with us your insightful opinion, views. And I think a lot of viewers who are present today and also will be seeing the video later half in Facebook or YouTube will be learning a lot about government administration, and with a focus on urban spectrum and all. Uh, we have series of questions. Maybe we can choose some. We have a question from Nishit Shah. The question is for you. What are the plans for managing dental oral health during this time, as there is no specific advisory from the state or national government on this front? Dr. Naik, for you.
Yeah, me being a dentist, I think it's one of my friends who has raised this question. Uh, what I would say is I'm not authorized to speak for this because I serve in the urban administration. But what I see is slowly the governance model will also, getting more sensitized by every day. And till now, the other sectors which were not considered that important in the overall public health aspect or otherwise, say, be it dentistry or the paramedics, this should get importance in the coming days. So one symptom, or if I have to say, one recent aspect has been that the government is now looking out for dentists also as a means of managing their public health. So slowly we are getting there. I don't have a specific answer to you, Nishit, but yes, I hope in the coming days we'll be able to come out with something.
The next question is from Mumbai by Mr. Harshal. There are several key stakeholders who are working tirelessly in this hour of crisis, like police, medical colleges, hospitals, municipal corporations, council, district administration. How do you ensure smooth coordination with all to execute and implement plans, especially in a situation when all these institutions are working with limited personnel?
Yeah, that's a good question, Arshal. I am right now in the urban department, and I have mentioned before we run a call center which involves coordination between different people because our people also come from somewhere in the city. So there have been issues, there have been instances where we have to really get down to our experience and our ability to handle things. But the best part is in a situation such as this, where crisis situation is there, everybody is trying to help, and it usually gets the best out of most of our government servants. Our people, many a times they are blamed for not their fault in the routine life, but this is the time when you see their importance, and also when they you can see their best, because see, fear is same for everybody, be it a common person or a worker working for the government. But to go out there and doing your duty is definitely something professional about it, and also something selfless about it also. We have instances of many people not entering their house, staying in the garage and ensuring all the protocols so that their family members don't get affected. We have been reading about them in newspapers. So it takes a lot of basic humanity also somewhere, and also our own work ethos, which have been put over the years through our experience. So that's how it is done.
There's another question from Lucknow by Mr. Arpit. How the ULBs of Madhya Pradesh are fighting against COVID-19?
The ULBs of Madhya Pradesh have been at the forefront right now, and we are left with around five cities which are hotspots, or more than 300 ULBs that we have, which mostly are safe. And the district administration and the municipal administration, both of them have done a tremendous job working 24 hours and not caring for their own personal issues. Right now, I think a couple of cities are where our focus is, and the ULBs, just like the state government, have been following the instructions that come from Government of India. Certain instructions are drafted at the state level also, which we have been drafting and pushing and helping our ULBs. But I have to say, it is the ULB level, it is our grassroots level, and it is our Safai Karmi level wherein the actual work is happening. So most of the initiatives are their own. We can only support them from afar, but many of the timely decisions, many of the decisions on the field, many of the decisions that you take at the spur of the moment is left to the experience of that guy or the lady who goes ward to ward. So a salute to all of them. and that is how we are managing. We have the best of the people for to work for us.
True, true. They're the real heroes with people like you and the entire administration were working on ground during this outbreak and lockdown. There's one question from Dr. Rajneesh Gorth for Dr. Naik is that how much we have used artificial intelligence data analytics for urban development and crisis management. Also, what is the roadmap for next 3 to 5 years from Dr. Rajneesh?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Gaur. I have already mentioned we have had a small experience with our call center wherein we have been able to use the IVRS as well as the chatbot, which are somewhere on the same lines that you are talking about. And I have also mentioned that Corona has afforded us a chance to move rapidly on the e-office mode or say the work from home mode wherever possible. So I see a lot of change happening in the coming. It is already happening. Say our office is going to be completely e-office without any physical files in the coming days. So that is the kind of magnitude that is coming in. So in the coming years also, I expect to see a lot of spin-offs of the same, and expect to see a lot of AI coming into the same thing. We have already been MP has already been a pioneer in using ERP systems and different technological interventions. But this is something different. This is, I think, what will work on the platform that we already have, so that we are able to give better services than we do.
I think we can take one more question, and that is from Telangana. Mr. Sudhir Gautam has asked, Dr. Naik, in the backdrop of Corona crisis, do you think that ULBs and government needs to come up with policies, infrastructure integration, and other digital provisions, and be equipped to deal with such future crises? How quick the government can take this as priority?
Please come again.
In the backdrop of Corona crisis, do you think that ULBs and government needs to come up with policies, infrastructure integration, and other digital provisions to deal with such future crises? How quick government can take this as priority?
I exactly didn't get what infra integration is, but what I can make out of it is I think he's talking about how do we integrate different silos and are able to deliver fast. If that
Right,
is what
right.
the question is, in normal routine time, yes, the government works in different silo kind of situation wherein they have expertise of their own field. But situations such as these, if you see, uh, the information flow is government of India to state government to the district administration to the last final frontier. That's the gram panchayat or the urban local body. So we have a system wherein these things do integrate at different level. Be it government of India, I'm sure a lot of different departments sit together and work out the strategies. At the state government level, we already see that on a daily basis we have video conferences which talk about the same, be it the medical aspect or the non-medical aspect of dealing with the corona. At the district level where the cutting edge thing is happening, the collector who is responsible for this coordination, most of our collectors are doing tremendous job and they have led from the front, and that is what the idea of district administration is. So I can easily give you examples of many such people who are doing it, and that is how the system works. And though this has been a major challenge and some of them have been affected also, I see a lot of personal courage in ensuring this, and the coordination has been great. The system has actually stood the test compared to many of the other nations, I would say. So this has been our strength also, and this has been the way we have been able to manage this situation.
True, true. And I think when it comes to governance, good governance, I think uh, we always see a lot of debate happens about the government working in silo. I think what can help us in near future or long term, that breaking of these silos for ensuring governance and citizen-centric services being rendered to citizen to the last mile. I think that has been one of the major learning also for the governance ecosystem. We have seen that a lot of things have been done in quick manner, which is in normal course, it would have been taken months and years to do all those things. I think during this lockdown, we have seen quick government reactions, quick government actions, and quick policy implementation without thinking much about what will happen. I think that has been also a learning. We'll end with that, Dr. Naik, your departing note for that.
Yeah, so I think it is not only for the governance, it is for everybody. It's a civilization as a whole. We may be, in the routine time, we may be thinking a lot before doing anything. But in crisis situation, you don't have time to think. So that is also where you either err or you succeed. So, but you have to take those risks if you have to come up with something revolutionary. So, as I mentioned before, most of the inventions today we see are from the World War II, which otherwise maybe we would not have seen. So governance wise also it's a ever evolving thing, and technology definitely has been very helpful in overcoming certain of our challenges. And in situations such as this, it is only speeding it up.
So we may end up by saying that post-COVID, welcome to new world order, and that will be the new way of life. Thanks a lot, Dr. Naik, for joining us for this special webinar on governance during crisis. And I'm sure attendees who have attended this webinar have learned a lot of things and they've asked questions. It has been interactive. We'll be uploading the entire webinar video in Elets social media like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. There also a lot of viewers will come and also like and share, and also whatever questions we have more, we can mail it to you. You can answer them separately, Dr. Naik. Before we end this, note for Elets Technomedia.
Yeah, Souvik, thanks for having me here. It is always a joy to be talking to you and to be part of the Elets experience. We have had certain collaborations earlier also. So you're doing a great job here by giving a platform for views, which will be on record, which may be of use. And I would like to sign off by requesting everybody to be safe and be united in this fight against Corona. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks a lot. Stay safe, stay home, but be connected with Elets webinars. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, viewers. Thanks, Dr. Naik.
Thank you.
This is thank you. See you for next webinar coming up at 3 p.m. through Elets platform. Thanks a lot.